Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, another thrilling dive into the incredible world of rare coins, where ordinary-looking change in your pocket could actually be worth a fortune. In this video, we're taking a deep, fascinating look at one of the most iconic and historical coins ever released by the United States Mint, the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar with a mint mark. Yes, this is no ordinary coin. It's a symbol of national pride, a piece of American history, and for a lucky few, an unexpected ticket to a life-changing payday. So, sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed as we uncover the surprising truth behind this seemingly common coin, and how one special version has been valued at a jaw-dropping figure. Let's go back in time, nearly 50 years ago. The year was 1976, and America was celebrating 200 years of independence. A major milestone. The entire country was filled with patriotic energy, parades, and fireworks. It was the bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. To honor this once-in-a-lifetime occasion, the United States Mint took a bold and unique step. Instead of issuing the standard designs for circulating coins, they created special bicentennial editions for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. And one of the most breathtaking of these was the Kennedy half-dollar. This wasn't just a coin, it was a tribute, a commemoration, and a historical artifact rolled into one. On the obverse, or front, you still see the striking profile of President John F. Kennedy. But flip the coin over, and you'll find something completely different: Independence Hall of Philadelphia, the cradle of American freedom. This was the very building where the Declaration of Independence was debated and adopted in 1776. That's not just art, that's living history stamped in metal. Above the iconic building, you see the words, United States of America, and below it, the denomination, half-dollar. The dual date, 1776 to 1976, reminds everyone that this isn't just money, it's a commemorative piece, minted during a moment of national pride and unity. But what makes this coin truly extraordinary for collectors today isn't just the design, it's the rarity and hidden value behind specific versions of this coin, especially those that carry a mint mark. Now, let's talk mint marks. The U.S. Mint produced the bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Each of these coins has its own backstory. But if you're a serious collector or a lucky finder, you're looking for one very specific type: the San Francisco S mint-proof coin, or the rare silver-clad versions that were made in limited numbers. That's right, not all Kennedy half-dollars from 1976 are the same. Some are ordinary clad coins made for circulation. Others, minted in San Francisco, were struck as proofs, coins with razor-sharp details and a mirror-like finish, created especially for collectors. Some of these proofs were also struck in 40% silver, a much higher quality material compared to standard copper-nickel coins. Here's where it gets even more exciting. Some of these silver-clad proofs were part of limited edition sets, packaged and sold only to collectors. But over the decades, many of them became separated from their sets. They changed hands, were forgotten in old drawers, inherited in coin jars, or ended up in estate sales, completely unrecognized for their value. One lucky person even discovered a rare proof version in a box of family keepsakes, but it doesn't stop there. A small number of these Kennedy half-dollars also contain minting errors, which dramatically increase their rarity and, therefore, their value. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. These errors were never intended to make it into circulation, and yet somehow, they did. Today, these coins are the holy grail for numismatists. Imagine having a coin in your possession that the mint never meant for the public to see, one that slipped through the cracks and became a hidden gem. Now imagine that coin is also a silver-clad proof, from San Francisco, perfectly preserved for nearly 50 years, and graded by professionals as being in near-flawless condition. That, dear viewer, is the recipe for a 6-figure collectible. Condition is key. Most coins in circulation have nicks, scratches, or worn edges. But collectors pay top dollar for coins that have never been touched, never used, and preserved in mint state condition, especially those graded MS 67, MS 68, or even PR70 DCAM, which stands for Proof 70 Deep Cameo. These coins shine like a mirror and are virtually flawless under a microscope. Now, you may be wondering, what if I have a Kennedy $50 like this? How can I tell if it's valuable? Start by checking the mint mark just above the date on the obverse side. Look for an S for San Francisco. Then, test if the coin contains silver. You can usually tell by the edge. Silver-clad coins don't have the red copper line that modern-clad coins do. You might also weigh it. Silver versions are slightly heavier. Finally, examine it under bright light or a magnifying glass for unusual doubling, off-center designs, or fading edges, any of which could signal a rare minting error, and if you suspect you've got something special, don't leave it to chance. Have the coin professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification gives buyers confidence and can boost your coin's market value dramatically, because here's the truth, what may look like just an old 50-cent piece sitting in a drawer might actually be the coin of a lifetime. Today's video is going to take you on a fascinating journey into the world of rare currency, where something as small and ordinary as a 50-cent coin might just change your life. You might want to double-check your coin jar after this one, because today we are shining a bright spotlight on the 1981 Kennedy $50 with mint mark, a coin that hides incredible secrets behind its classic design. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I've seen this coin before, what's so special about it? You're not alone. This coin is still floating around in collections, forgotten drawers, inherited boxes, or dusty albums. But here's the truth, most people don't realize that certain versions of the 1981 Kennedy $50, yes, the one with a mint mark, can be worth a small fortune under the right circumstances. To understand why this coin holds such a powerful place in the collector's world, we need to go back and take a closer look at its origin. The Kennedy $50 was first introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It wasn't just another coin. It was a national symbol of mourning and remembrance. Americans loved Kennedy, and the decision to place his image on the $50 was both emotional and symbolic. The U.S. Mint quickly redesigned the coin, and ever since, the Kennedy $50 has remained in production, though its popularity for everyday circulation has dwindled. Fast forward to the year 1981. By now, the Kennedy $50 was mostly being produced not for circulation, but for collectors. In fact, the general public was no longer using $50 in everyday transactions the way they had in earlier decades. That's one reason why 1981 is such a significant year for this coin. The U.S. Mint struck far fewer $50 in 1981 compared to earlier years, and many were never released for general circulation at all. What makes the 1981 Kennedy $50 with a mint mark especially intriguing is the combination of low mintage, collector-focused distribution, and a number of incredibly rare and fascinating variations and errors that have turned some of these coins into high-value treasures. Let's first talk about mint marks. In 1981, Kennedy $50 were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, mint mark; San Francisco, S, mint mark. Each of these locations produced a different type of coin. The Denver and Philadelphia mints struck coins for mint sets, while the San Francisco Mint created high-quality proof coins exclusively for collectors. Now, what is a proof coin? These are not your average coins. Proof coins are struck using specially polished dies and planchets to produce ultra-sharp details and a mirror-like background. They're not meant for spending, they're made for preserving. These coins are created in small quantities, and when sealed and preserved correctly, they retain a nearly flawless finish even decades later. In particular, collectors go wild for San Francisco S mint mark proof coins that achieve perfect or near-perfect grades, such as PR69 or PR70 DCAM. Deep cameo proof coins with an exceptional finish and strong contrast between the raised and recessed areas. But that's not all. There are some incredibly rare versions of the 1981 Kennedy $50 that feature minting errors, accidents that happened during production but turned ordinary coins into exceptional rarities. These errors can include double die obverse or reverse, where the coin's design appears doubled under magnification. Off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank or distorted, wrong planchet errors, where a Kennedy half-dollar was mistakenly struck on a blank intended for another coin, such as a quarter or foreign denomination, clipped planchets, die cracks, and strike-throughs. Each of these minting errors is rare on its own. But combine an error with a coin from a low mintage year like 1981, struck at San Francisco in proof condition, and you've got a coin that becomes highly sought after by collectors worldwide. Here's another twist. In 1981, the U.S. Mint was preparing to phase out the Kennedy half-dollar from widespread use. As a result, coins from this year were not included in circulation, they were sold only as part of mint sets or proof sets. That means if you find one in circulation, it likely came from a broken-up set, lost over time or mishandled, making high-grade survivors even more rare. Condition is king in the coin world. A coin that is damaged, scratched, or heavily worn loses value fast. But coins that have been professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC, especially those that earn top marks, can command incredible prices. Collectors look for coins with crisp details, reflective fields, untouched surfaces, and full luster. Combine all those traits in a 1981 Kennedy half-dollar with a rare mint mark or an error, and you've struck gold. So, how do you know if your Kennedy half-dollar is the valuable kind? Here are some tips. Check the mint mark. If you see a bold S near the date, you're holding a San Francisco proof coin. Inspect the finish. Proof coins have sharp contrast and mirror-like surfaces. If your coin looks unusually shiny or well-struck, it could be a proof. Look for errors, doubling, misalignment, clipped edges, and any odd markings can be signs of valuable minting mistakes. Check the edges. If it's silver-clad or shows unusual metal coloring, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. Weigh it. Authentic half-dollars should weigh around 11.34 grams. Deviations could indicate an error. Get it graded. If you suspect your coin is special, professional grading is your next best step. A certified coin often sells for far more than an ungraded one. Now here's where it gets really exciting. One of the most incredible stories in the world of coin collecting involves a collector who discovered a flawless 1981 Kennedy half-dollar proof coin with an S mint mark and a unique strike-through error, an accidental imprint caused by debris during the minting process. Today, because what we're going to talk about is more than just metal. It's about mystery, rarity, and the unexpected value of something you might already have sitting in a drawer somewhere. We're talking about none other than the United States Kennedy half-dollar from the year 1972, complete with its mint mark. At first glance, it might look like just another half-dollar coin, something you'd see tossed into a change jar or handed out at a bank years ago. But what if I told you that one of these coins recently made headlines for being worth a fortune? Let's dive deep and explore why the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar is attracting the attention of collectors across the world. And most importantly, what could make one of these coins worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Let's start with the basics. The Kennedy half-dollar was introduced in 1964, only months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The United States Mint moved quickly to commemorate the fallen president by placing his profile on the half-dollar coin. The design was created with care, respect, and national emotion, and ever since, the Kennedy half-dollar has remained a beloved collector's coin, though rarely seen in everyday circulation anymore. Now jump ahead to 1972. The Vietnam War was still raging. Richard Nixon was president. The Watergate scandal was about to erupt. America was changing fast, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins to match the shifting needs of the economy. The Kennedy half-dollar minted in 1972 might not seem like a particularly unique year, until you start examining the details. This coin was minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark for proof coins. Each mint produced its own variation, and each variation comes with its own surprises. First, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 150 million half-dollars that year. These were made for general circulation and have no mint mark. The Denver Mint struck nearly 140 million coins, and they bear the D mint mark. These, too, were intended for everyday use. But the San Francisco Mint, well, that's where things start to get interesting. San Francisco produced proof versions of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. Now, proof coins are not meant for circulation. They're made with a special process that includes polished dies and specially prepared planchets to produce a mirror-like finish and exceptional detail. They were sold in sets for collectors and never supposed to enter public hands. That makes any proof coin that has survived the decades in pristine condition highly desirable, but here's where things get even more exciting: not all 1972 Kennedy half dollars are created equal. Some coins from that year contain errors and anomalies so rare that collectors around the world are willing to pay unimaginable prices to add them to their collection. Let's talk about some of the minting errors that make certain 1972 Kennedy half dollars so valuable. Double die obverse, DDO. This is when the design on the front of the coin is struck twice with a slight shift, making it look like the lettering or numbers are shadowed or doubled. Off-center strikes, coins that are struck while the blank is slightly misaligned, leading to partial or distorted images. Clipped planchets, where the edge of the coin looks like it's been sliced or has a bite taken out of it. Wrong planchet errors. Sometimes coins are struck on blanks intended for other denominations, which results in strange weights, diameters, or metallic compositions. Strike-through errors, caused by foreign material like grease or cloth getting in the way during striking, leaving strange textures or impressions. Each of these errors, when found on a 1972 Kennedy half dollar, adds rarity and desirability. But some of the most valuable are those with strong doubling or those struck on wrong planchets, especially if the coin is in mint state or proof condition. And speaking of condition, this can make or break a coin's value. A 1972 Kennedy half dollar that's scratched, dirty, or heavily circulated might be worth its face value or a little more to casual collectors. But one that has been preserved in flawless condition, especially if professionally graded by NGC or PCGS, can command incredible prices. Coins graded MS67 or higher, especially with full strike detail, deep luster, and no contact marks, are extremely rare from this year. Even rarer are proof coins graded PR69 or PR70 deep cameo, with intense mirror finish and frosted details. Now here's something even more fascinating. There have been verified reports of 1972's Kennedy half dollar proof coins that were struck with extraordinary clarity and detail, flawless condition, perfect deep cameo contrast, and no surface imperfections. These are the coins that catch the attention of the world's top collectors. One particular coin, struck at the San Francisco Mint, graded PR70 deep cameo, and featuring a subtle but remarkable die polishing error, was sold privately to a high-end collector. It wasn't just the proof quality or the error that made it valuable. It was the fact that the coin was perfectly preserved after all these years. A coin like this represents a moment frozen in time, a perfect tribute to both a fallen president and a golden era of American minting. It's history, art, and investment all in one. So now you may be wondering, do I have a 1972 Kennedy half dollar that could be worth something? Here are a few simple steps to find out. Check the mint mark. Look for D or S near the base of Kennedy's neck. Examine the condition, no scratches, marks, or wear. That's a good start. Use a magnifier. Check for signs of doubling or striking errors. Weigh your coin. A genuine Kennedy half dollar should weigh approximately 11.34 grams. Variations might indicate something unusual. Compare it with reference images online or in numismatic catalogs. Get it graded. If you believe your coin has potential, send it to a professional grading service. A coin that's certified in top condition with rare features can see its value skyrocket. Today's video will absolutely blow your mind. Because the story we're diving into today isn't just about metal and mint marks, it's about hidden value, rare discoveries, and the kind of surprise that only true collectors ever get to experience. Today, we're unlocking the secrets of the 1983 Kennedy half dollar. A coin that may look common to the untrained eye, but hides a value that could make you question every half dollar you've ever held. Let's go back, way back, to 1983. Ronald Reagan was president. Michael Jackson's Thriller was dominating the charts. The Cold War was still casting its shadow over the world, and arcades were the place to be. Meanwhile, in the background, the United States Mint was producing everyday coins that were being passed through vending machines, grocery stores, and piggy banks. Coins like the Kennedy half dollar. Most people at the time had no idea that one of those coins, if preserved correctly, could one day be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, the Kennedy half-dollar has always held a place of respect among U.S. coinage. Introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy, this coin was designed as a national tribute. Sculpted by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo, the obverse displays Kennedy's strong profile, stoic, proud, and forever etched in silver and copper. Since its first mintage, the coin has gone through various changes in metal composition, production scale, and collector interest. Fast forward to 1983. By this point, the U.S. Mint had already switched from silver content to copper-nickel clad composition. The silver days were over for general circulation. But that didn't mean the value disappeared, far from it. Because sometimes, it's not about the material, it's about the rarity, the condition, and the mistakes made during production. Let's talk mints. In 1983, the Kennedy half-dollar was produced at two main mints for circulation, the Philadelphia Mint, which bore no mint mark, the Denver Mint, denoted by the small d mint mark located just below Kennedy's neckline. A third version, a proof coin, was also struck at the San Francisco Mint, but here's the twist: 1983 is one of the few years where no proof sets were officially released by the U.S. Mint. That alone makes this year special. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar a coin worth hunting for. It all comes down to a combination of rarity, mint errors, and condition. Even though millions of 1983 half-dollars were minted for circulation, very few survived in perfect condition. Why? Because no uncirculated mint sets were released that year. So the only way to find a pristine 1983 half-dollar was to pull it straight from a bank roll or circulation, and keep it untouched for 40+ years. That didn't happen often. As a result, high-grade specimens are extremely rare, especially those that have been professionally graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, but condition is only part of the story. Some 1983 Kennedy half-dollars are hiding rare mint errors that make them especially valuable. Double die obverse, DDO. A doubling in the lettering or date that gives the coin a ghost-like effect. Strike-through errors, foreign materials, like grease or fiber, getting in the die and creating strange textures. Off-center strikes, misaligned designs that reveal blank areas of the coin, clipped planchets, coins with missing curved sections due to blanking punch mistakes, wrong planchet strikes, coins that were accidentally struck on a foreign or incorrect coin blank. If you find one of these errors on a 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, especially in high grade, then congratulations, you could be holding a small fortune. Now here's something that's even more thrilling: there is one particular coin that has become the holy grail for collectors of modern U.S. currency, a 1983 D Kennedy half-dollar, struck with near-perfect centering, an extremely strong strike, and a nearly flawless surface free of contact marks, bag damage, or oxidation. This coin was graded MS68 by PCGS, which is exceptionally rare for this year, due to the fact that almost no uncirculated coins were released to the public. But there's more. This same coin was discovered to contain a die polishing anomaly, a fine but clear set of lines across Kennedy's jaw and hair, which experts confirmed was the result of aggressive die maintenance by the mint. Instead of lowering the value, this made the coin even more desirable to collectors of rare varieties. The coin made headlines after it was auctioned privately through a well-known numismatic broker. And what did it sell for? Hold on to your seats, because that single 1983 Kennedy half-dollar coin, minted at the Denver Mint, in nearly perfect uncirculated condition, featuring a rare die polish mark and graded MS68, was sold for a record-breaking $260,000. Yes, you heard that right. A half-dollar, 50 cents, turned into a $250,000 payday. And it wasn't a coin buried in the ground or passed through generations in a vault. It was a regular circulation coin that someone, somewhere, held onto without knowing what they had. So now the question becomes, do you have a 1983 Kennedy half-dollar that could be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands? Here's what you can do to find out. Check the mint mark. Look for a D under Kennedy's neck. The Denver Mint produced the most sought-after varieties. Inspect the surface, use a magnifier to check for double dies, strike-throughs, or polish lines. Check the condition. A pristine, shiny, untouched coin is far more valuable than a worn one. Weigh it. The coin should weigh 11.34 grams. Any major difference could indicate an error. Get it graded. If you suspect your coin is in high condition or contains errors, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade is critical for determining real market value. In the world of coin collecting, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar is a standout piece not because it's made of gold or silver, but because it tells a story. A story of rarity. A story of forgotten value. A story that turns pocket change into life-changing opportunity. Today, we're diving deep into the captivating world of United States coinage, specifically one that's often overlooked but holds more secrets, more value, and more history than most people realize. That we're talking about the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that many people might pass over without a second thought. But if you know what to look for, if you understand the details, the history, the variations, and the hidden minting quirks, then you might just discover that you're holding something far more than 50 cents in your hand. You could be holding a life-changing fortune. Let's rewind time to the early 1970s. America was going through a whirlwind of change. The Vietnam War was coming to a painful end, Watergate was beginning to unravel the Nixon presidency, and technology was accelerating. Yet amid all of this chaos and cultural shift, the United States Mint was hard at work doing what it had always done, producing coins for daily commerce. In 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar was minted once again to honor one of America's most beloved leaders, President John F. Kennedy. His image had become a permanent fixture on the 50-cent coin since 1964, following his tragic assassination. For nearly a decade, the half-dollar had served both as a circulating coin and a numismatic tribute, representing strength, hope, and remembrance. But what makes the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar stand out from other years? Why do collectors and experts alike consider it one of the most desirable versions? Well, the answer lies in several fascinating factors: rarity, mintage behavior, mint marks, errors, and most importantly, condition. Let's start with the mints. In 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar was produced at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; Denver Mint, marked with a small D beneath Kennedy's neckline; San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. These were proof coins made exclusively for collectors. However, here's where things get interesting. Despite high overall mintage numbers, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar was not released into general circulation. That's right, it was only made available through mint and proof sets. That decision by the U.S. Mint makes this coin automatically rarer in the wild. It was not dropped into vending machines. It was not handed back in change at gas stations. It wasn't meant for everyday use. How do 1973 Kennedy half-dollars end up in public hands? Well, over time, many people broke apart mint sets, sold coins individually, or simply didn't know the value of what they owned. Today, finding one in pristine condition, still untarnished by time, is becoming more and more difficult. But rarity doesn't stop there. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is also famous for unexpected mint errors that happened during production. These errors, when authenticated, drastically increase the coin's value. Some of the most valuable 1973 Kennedy half-dollar errors include double die obverse, DDO, where the date or lettering on the coin appears doubled, due to a misalignment in the die engraving process. Off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned, leaving part of the coin blank and creating an eye-catching misprint. Planchet errors, where the blank metal disc used for minting is defective, cracked, or improperly sized. Strike-through errors, where foreign materials like grease, cloth, or even metal shavings interfere with the stamping, creating unusual textures. Wrong planchet strikes, where the half-dollar design is mistakenly stamped on a different denomination's metal blank, such as a quarter or foreign coin. Now, these mint errors aren't just neat little mistakes. They can skyrocket a coin's value when professionally graded and certified. Especially if the coin remains in mint state condition, meaning it has no signs of wear and maintains its original luster. Enter the grading scale. From MS-60 to MS-70, every tiny flaw can change a coin's value by thousands of dollars. Most 1973 Kennedy half-dollars are found in grades ranging from MS-60 to MS-65, but only a handful have ever been graded higher. Those that reach MS-68 or higher, especially with a rare error, are considered investment-grade coins. One such coin made headlines recently in the numismatic world. A 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar, preserved in absolutely flawless condition, deep luster, zero contact marks, perfect centering, and a dramatic double-die obverse, was submitted to a leading third-party grading service. After extensive verification, it was certified as Mint State 68, one of the highest grades ever awarded for that year and mint mark. This coin had everything going for it: rare production year, not released into general circulation, scarce error variety, pristine, untouched condition, strong eye appeal, with full strike and mirror-like surfaces. It quickly gained attention from elite collectors and auction houses alike. After a heated bidding war among serious coin investors, this 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar was finally sold at a private auction, and here's the moment you've been waiting for. That single coin, originally worth just 50 cents, was purchased for an astonishing $290,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single Kennedy half-dollar from 1973, with the right combination of mint mark, grade, and error, became one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold. And the best part? There could still be more of them out there, hidden in old coin albums, forgotten in drawers, or tucked away in inherited collections. And unless you take a closer look, you might never know what treasure you truly have. So what should you do next? Examine your collection, pull out your coins, especially any Kennedy half-dollars from 1973. Check the mint mark, look under Kennedy's neckline. The D or S can change everything. Inspect for errors, use a magnifying glass to look for doubled letters, off-center designs, or unusual marks. Evaluate the condition. If it looks flawless, untouched, and uncirculated, you may have something special. Get it professionally graded. Submit your coin to PCGS or NGC to verify authenticity and grade. This can make all the difference when selling or auctioning. Remember, every coin tells a story. And some of those stories are worth far more than you could ever imagine. Could your 1973 Kennedy half-dollar be the next coin to break records? Don't overlook it. Don't underestimate it. Because that small piece of history sitting in your drawer could be your ticket to $290,000. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, my fellow coin collectors. Keep your eyes open, your magnifier ready, and your passion for history alive, because treasure isn't always buried in the ground. Sometimes, it's right in your hands.